Hey, Christy, how's it going?
It's awesome. How are you? Happy 4th.
Yeah, happy 4th of July. Well, I asked you to come on this very quick recording because we have a big release that's coming tomorrow. And I think you are ready to give all Bravo customers a sneak peek of two of the big features that will be live tomorrow morning, Thursday, when they open their store. So if you wouldn't mind, could you please walk us through suspend transaction and the long-awaited pay later on E4473?
Yeah, we're going to start with the big one, which is pay later. So, for those of you who have been waiting for it, and there's been a lot of you waiting for it, what pay later means is that when you have E4473, instead of having the customer pay at the start of the transaction, they're going to go ahead and pay after the background check has been completed. So there's different states and rules where, if they pay for the firearm, you have to release it. So now all of these states that, found reason to not implement E44 now can do it. So we're very excited. As you can see, I've already pulled up the customer myself, and then here's the firearm. So you can see right now it's showing a $0 amount. It did add the firearm fee. So if you do charge any sort of fee for transferring a firearm, you can go ahead and capture that up front, as most people want to. So we'll go ahead and tender out this transaction. So say the customer is giving us $10.50 cash, and I'm going to select no receipt. And then Bravo moves us right into the form start position. So for sake of time, I am not going to fill out the entire 4473 form, but like you would typically send the link to your customer by choosing send link or view QR code. And then as many of you know, you can just go ahead and shoot it to their cell phone, or a lot of you like to use a more kiosk mode where you'll take the QR code image with a, trying to think of the right word, an Apple tablet, and then hand it over to your customer for completion. Alternatively, if the customer says, I don't want to electronically fill it out, which most of them do want to electronically fill it out, you can choose manual form entry, which I'm going to do right now to quickly bypass the E44 and having to actually fill it out. So I'm going to just type in the reason for my not filling out the form. And then it goes to this where you were waiting for the customer to fill out the form. You can always save and suspend the transaction and bring it back up after the customer has completed filling out the form. But at this point, we're going to manually review, make sure the customer filled it out properly. Everything looks wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and choose accept, which then moves us on to the background check. So we'd go ahead and complete our NICS e-check. We'll say we immediately received a proceed with our NTN number. And now we're going to go ahead and choose next. It's looking for us. I have cloud storage turned on, so I need to browse and add my 4473 that was manually filled out. And now you can see there is an actual amount associated with the firearm. Now you can still change this amount. So maybe when we originally started this transaction, there wasn't a sale going on, but customer comes back today and what do you know, there's a 10% sale going on. You can always discount, which this is also a new button you can see here, discount. You can still discount the transaction if you're doing like 10% off or what have you. And then that's it. Now we can officially wrap up this transaction. And
well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just overriding or approving that I skipped the 4473.
Awesome. I'm excited for this. I know our customers have been waiting for this. I do have two questions that I'm assuming some of our customers will have. One is, can you talk about the configuration, right? So I think they have to choose if all transactions you collect the money before or after, right? So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yep, that's correct. So you'll want to decide whether you want to pay later or pay ahead of time. You can't do one or the other. So if you choose to pay later, that means all of your customers will be paying later. So if you're a pawnbroker, that means that you're not going to have your customer actually pay up front for that firearm for the redemption or pickup. They're not going to pay until they've passed that background check. So if you're an Ohio customer, this is really specifically also for you so that you can join in the 4473 fund.
And for current customers who maybe want to make a change and say, hey, I want to collect payment at the end of the transaction with this new feature, how do they get this done? Is this something they do themselves or do they have to call support?
They can do it themselves, but I always recommend calling support. The thing is, if you have already started a form in one particular manner, it will finish out that same way. So obviously, if we've already collected cash up front, there's no way to give it back. So however you've started the 4473, it will continue down the path it's already started. But once you've flipped the switch, and if you decide to do pay later, then at that point, all of those moving forward will be pay later. So it will be, if there's any outstanding forms, they will have to finish out how you originally started them. So if you want to update themselves, you can go into your system configuration and you go into config and it's under firearms. So drop down that and then you'll see firearm sale payment option, pay at pickup, or if we choose edit, pay up front. So right now, this button doesn't exist for you guys. I'm actually still in our staging. So tomorrow morning, when you get the new release, you'll see this new actual option here. So if you want to switch, go ahead and switch it to pay at pickup. Otherwise, as of tomorrow's release, everybody will be set to pay up front. So you can just come in here, update it, or feel free to give us a call and we can help you take care of that as well.
Awesome. Probably supporting or sending, I think, a support ticket, right, to Zendesk would be the best and the fastest way to get the response from support since this is quick. Okay. Anything else that you want to touch on for the E4473 pay later, or would you like to move on to suspend transaction?
Let's move on to suspend transactions.
Right. Let's do it.
Cool. So I've already set up a couple of examples. So the first one is suspending like a retail transaction. So in this case, we had a customer come in and we added all sorts of items to a ticket and we did discounts on some and there was really no rhyme or reason. We discounted as we went along. And then at the end, customers like, oh, I don't have enough cash. I got to run home or whatever the case may be. So you select suspend transaction. And when the customer comes back, all you have to do is come over here to the right and choose transactions. And then tomorrow you'll see a new button at the top and it's resume a transaction. So you don't even need to have the customer pulled up. You'll notice the customer names are down here on the left side. You just find the appropriate customer. So we've got, we did a bunch of transactions with Steve Mack, select OK. And then it's going to bring him back up. And then we'll be able to review them. At this point, we can also still negotiate, or if we decide he, maybe he couldn't find the money, couldn't come up with it, we want to take the ring off, we can always delete an item from the list. That is it. It brings everything back up as it was. You can always, again, review, go back in, look at, the details. So we got a 10% discount on that item. Otherwise, if everything looks great, you just wrap up the transaction like normal by choosing next and tendering out.
Woohoo.
So super simple.
Yeah. You know what? I know that both of these suspend transaction as well as E44 pay later are things that we've been hearing, right? Our sales team has been hearing when they're speaking with people who are demoing and looking at Bravo. And of course, our customers have been giving you a lot of feedback through a variety of channels. So we're really excited to roll these out and really excited to show our customers, like, we hear your suggestions. They're all being reviewed and our dev team, we're expanding it and really pushing to have faster velocity of releases so that we can continue to roll out some of these features that we know a lot of you have been waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, and this one's big. So not only did we do the retail, but we also did like quotes, which was really fun because we'd kind of planned on doing the retail already and then just participating on Facebook. And I started following a thread, and it was Trevor Rivet had asked his employees, what do you miss most? And they had mentioned this. So it was really serendipitous that all of it came together. But now you can also suspend not just retail transactions, but loan quotes as well. So you can see I come in here, put in a lot of work describing each one of these items. So you can come back in and really look at the details of each, because maybe the customer left, maybe it's been a couple of days. You want to make sure it is still the same item. Maybe they decided they didn't want to come in with the necklace. Again, you can delete any one of them and then just move right into the next transaction. So just one special note about these is if it is like where a customer has come in, and I know this happens probably more often in pawn shops, where they want a couple bucks paid on this loan, a couple on this one, extend this one, redeem this one. So you've got like all of these, transactions staged up and ready to rock and roll. Those will be held for basically one day. The following day, when you go to open your store, we're going to expire those transactions, because since it's a new day, all those dollar amounts, for the most part, depending, in the state that you're in, the dollar amounts change for each day, right? Especially on extensions. So those you'll only be able to hold overnight or one day. But these transactions where there's no money exchanged, it's not outstanding, these will stay in Bravo until either you release them, and you release them by simply choosing the X mark here, which will pop up in a second. Or what will happen is when we release a new version of Bravo, any outstanding transactions will actually at that time then delete. So if you want to delete them yourself, you just come in here, you hit the red X, and then it goes away. But that's it. We are super excited.
All right, great. So just a reminder, these new features that Christy just showed you will be ready to rock and roll for you tomorrow, Thursday morning, when you open your stores. We'd love to hear additional feedback on Facebook about how things are going for you, or obviously you can, submit cases and customer suggestions. But thank you so much, Christy, for running us through this. Really excited.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the new update.